Hi guys, it's Janae and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm reacting to episode 9 of Devil Judge. I apologize if you can hear someone sweeping outside. It is unfortunate that life goes on outside the windows of my room. But anyway, before we do get into it, I just want to say a quick massive thank you to all my amazing patrons and channel members. And if you're interested in joining either of those for early access and uncut reactions, links for it will be in the description below, along with my social media and my PO box. And if you want to subscribe, that's always greatly appreciated. But yeah, I am very nervous for this episode. I really don't like Asan, I think is her name. Was it Sana? I confuse which comes first. We shall see. But yeah, I really am terrified of her, and I'm terrified for the police officer who seems like she's about to be attacked. So let's just get into it and hope for the best.
이기는 게임을 하고 싶네요. 저도.
Look, I don't want to be overly optimistic here because I've come to the realization that I need to accept the reality that most likely this show is gonna have a sad ending. But part of me can't help but think that he's decided to just kind of like play both sides on his own. Like, he's still seeing how he can bring Kang Johan down, but at the same time he's realized that the only way to get truly close to Kang Johan is by going all in. And a part of him is genuinely, I think, motivated by seeing the destruction of the man who destroyed his parents. But I can't help but think and maybe kind of like hope that there is more to this that he is keeping secret from the audience. Great, I'm gonna need my pillow.
경찰이야? 왜 나 쏠라고? 쏴. 어차피 쏘지도 못할 거야.
그거 버려 빨리.
I love how they're framing it. Like, I'm being sarcastic here. The fact that, oh, you know, put the camera away when I'm being confrontational, but fool me when I'm being like righteous in his eyes. No, the fact that they're just cutting away from it.
없었던 말은 아닙니다. 그럼 싸우고 싶은 겁니다. 잘못된 세상과.
You know how I feel about that statement. Please tell me that's his sister. His not sister. Yeah, Ilya.
뭐야?
이완, 빨리 와줘. 여기 지금 큰일 났어.
어디야? 거기 어디냐고? 거기 꼼짝 말고 그대로 있어. 무슨 일입니까?
I'm kind of here for them like being a team, even if it's in the worst circumstance. I hate that they're setting her up. I'm really worried. Can I run away? Is that an option? The show is gonna like end me, I'm sure. Mess them up so badly, please. Come on, please help her.
강연이야. 선생님, 저 주장입니다.
Oh. they don't yet realize who they just attempt to assault in their delusions of grandeur. And it sucks that it had to be Ilya, because let's be real here, unfortunately, if it wasn't her, he wouldn't be about to do something that I'm assuming is going to be truly horrific. But I'm kind of still glad that this is playing out the way it is, even though I fear that this is going to make the public turn against him in a way that he isn't yet anticipating.
수연아, 괜찮아?
괜찮아, 너 어떻게 한 거야?
나 괜찮아, 너 다친데.
Oh, this is very grim. This is very grim. You need to pull him back, because there's just so many things going through my head right now. And the public acknowledgement of Ilya being Johan's weakness is at the forefront, and then again the public turning on him is and yet another thing.
감히 내 조카를 건드려? 올렸어요.
Hello?
그만하시죠. 죽일 생각입니까? 그만하세요. 그만하시라니까.
수연아.
Okay, but yeesh, I've just forgotten Judge Kim's name. GAON, why aren't you trying to de-escalate the situation? You shouldn't be telling her to calm down, you should be telling him. He's really changed. GAON has really changed. The thing is, there's no way that he planned this, so I'm thinking that the laughter is kind of just him fangirling in his own very disturbing way. Very concerning. I feel so bad for her, because every single time she just wants to go out and have a normal day, be a normal teenager, something like this happens where she ends up like being carried off for her own good in a situation that she really shouldn't need to even worry about.
윤수야, 미친 거야. 감히 널 위험하게 만들어?
언니는 아무 잘못 없어.
언니?
내가 떡볶이 먹고 싶다고 해서 나 데려가 준 거야. 오다가 그런 놈들을 만난 건데 나보고 어쩌라고. 나 같이 떡볶이 먹으러 가줄 사람 하나 없어.
I'm glad she's being very blunt about it. Because unfortunately, I think to people like Johan, it's very easy for him to blame other people when things go wrong, instead of acknowledging what steps he might have taken to cause things to go wrong, or how he could have contributed to it.
이 집안 재산을 노리는 놈들도 많고 이 집안에 원한을 품은 놈들도 많아. 헬레는 누가 조금만 잘해줘도 믿어버리고. 정이 굶주렸으니까.
Yeah.
아무리 세상이 싫고 인간들이 싫어도 혼자서는 살 수 없어요. 의지할 누군가가 반드시 필요해요.
Yeah. And the thing is as well that really speaks volumes to how kind-hearted by nature Aliyah is, that she is able to keep on giving people chances despite how many times she's been hurt. Like, I know some people might call that naivete, but I really don't think you can accuse her of being naive. I don't think that's it. Suna. Okay. Noted. I was thinking,
언니.
뭐해?
뭐하니?
what's the Judge O? I can't remember her first
태국은
name.
화려한 사생활을 즐기는 거지.
그래, 바쁘구나.
뭔 일 있어? 급한 일이면 가고.
It's so weird. I was just thinking she seems like a very lonely person, but I didn't even want to voice it because I don't want to feel sympathy for her.
아까 사회적 책임지다 이사장님께서 샴페인 한 잔 같이 할 사람이 없어? 눈치
Yep.
보지 말고 좀 놀아. 어떻게 모델들 좀 불러줘?
아니야, 됐어. 재밌게 놀아라.
Some models over.
네, 알겠습니다. 대법원장이 보자는데 우리 셋 다. 네?
Oh,
아주 참신하네요.
that's concerning.
왔네. 자, 거기들 앉지.
I love her outfit. I just don't like her, and it sucks.
우리
Oh, if that doesn't say everything about the dynamics that's going on, her and Judge O on one side and Judge Kim and Yohan on the other.
우선 자네들을 모델로 해서 지법재판부 홍보 영상에 포스터까지 직접 찍으시겠대.
미디어 노출을 늘리셔야 됩니다. 더 열광하게 만들어야죠. 강 판사님을 동경하고.
What, so that his fall will be all the more explosive?
대중들 앞에서 광대 짓을 해라. 그 말씀입니까? 그 강부장 왜 이리 삐딱해?
He just saw the tone she took with him. He heard it himself. And he's not finding that odd. He's not being introspective about it. Maybe I just overanalyze everything everyone ever says to me, but someone was talking to me like that after parading around with a facade of kindness for so long. I would be on hyper alert.
그럼 혹시 생각해두신 홍보 문구라도 있으신가요?
강력한 법 질서, 안전한 대한민국. 저희 시범재판부도 함께 하겠습니다.
요즘 한참 대통령께서 외치고 있는 구호네요.
혹시 불편하세요? 설마 정부 방침에 반대하시는 거예요?
재밌겠네요.
I think the problem here that we're seeing is, I think Kang Jae-han, to an extent, I believe, wants Judge Kim there to keep him in check, in a sense. But he's not yet at a place where he's actually allowing Judge Kim to keep him in check, despite that being what he wants. And I think he's gonna get burned a few times before we get to the point where he actually listens to Judge Kim in a meaningful way. I just can't get over how quickly she's let her entire facade slip. Like, she's not even pretending anymore. I'm hoping that'll be a miscalculation on her part.
나는 지금 도련님을 돕고 있는 거야. 비극적 사고의 생존자, 가차없이 악을 처단하는 판사. 다 좋아. 인간들은 원래 그런 이야기를 좋아하니까.
Well, her clothing is definitely stepping up and, like, leaning darker and darker and closer to, like, blood red. Which is interesting. I didn't actually think that kind of a prediction would come true, and we shall see if it continues. But I hate the fact that it still feels like Kang Yo-han isn't taking her seriously enough. And it gives her more and more opportunity to make contingencies, like contingency plans to prevent him from succeeding.
2년만 더 기다리면 나랑 같이.
다 좋은데 그 부분이 별로네. 너랑 같이.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her, because she said she wants to be the dominator of this world. She kind of wants to be in the ultimate position of power, and she is not above using someone that she perceives to have wronged her, which, okay, I don't want to say perceives, because the former founder of the foundation is an absolute scumbag, but she's not above using other people as stepping stones. So it seems obvious to me that she would discard Kan Yuhan the moment that he ceases to be useful to her.
내 취향도 좀 생각해줘야지.
What I like my BL brain. It's like AKA not women. I don't like this. She's too dangerous. He should have gotten rid of her when he had the chance. Like, that's a cold statement to make, but either way, one of them is gonna get hurt. And I don't know her motive. I know Kan Yuhan, so it's kind of me sitting here going, rather the enemy that I know than the enemy that I don't.
자꾸 이런 일 생기면 아버지가 널 어쩌실지. 요한아, 형이랑 약속 하나만 하자. 죄 없는 사람은 해치지 않겠다고.
The sad thing is, she isn't innocent. Just because someone is young doesn't mean they're innocent. Misguided, yes, but not necessarily innocent. He shouldn't be this attractive.
세상에 죄 없는 인간이란 없다는 걸.
I would disagree.
대통령님.
The fact that it's called the Blue House, I don't know if that's like legitimately a thing in Korea or if it's just within the show, but I can't help thinking of the fact that there's the Blue House and the White House, but every single time I see it, it just feels like a parody.
그거 가짜 뉴스입니다. 모르시겠어요? 도대체 누가 그럽니까? 어느 신문사예요? 진짜 기사 났습니까? 최 비서관, 뭐 하는 거 진짜 개나 소나 다 들여? 뭐 하는 거야 이게? 일 안 해?
Dude, this is embarrassing. He's acting like a child.
사랑하고 존경하는 애국자 여러분, 이게 나랍니까? 소중한 국민들이 역병으로 줄줄이 죽어가고 있습니다.
Okay, they're not translating it, but I'm assuming this is a flashback.
부잣집 더러운 정치판에 발 한 번 안 담가본 크리스찬, 여러분의 흑수저, 여러분의 셀러, 여러분이 선택한 바로 이 허충세가 이 나라 대한민국 반드시 일으켜 세웁니다.
Oh my word. The fact that everyone is like judging him because he's just a candidate at this point, and yet once he becomes a president, they're all like sticking close to him, pretending like he's the best thing since sliced bread.
선생님, 선생님이 말씀하신 것처럼 제가 험한 정치판에서 먹히겠습니까?
뭐 그 정도면 경선 무대에서 부끄럽진 않겠네.
Okay.
감사합니다. 충성.
So weird.
재단 행사 때 사회나 보면 광대 노릇하던 친구입니다. 대선후보라니요.
그래도 나름 유명 배우 출신이잖아. 개사이단가? 엄청 잘 나가. 600만 원 넘었어. 난세는 말이야. 저런
How
광대가
many?
어울리잖아. 개사이단가? 엄청 잘 나가.
6 million. I still don't think that would qualify him to be a president. That popularity means nothing if you can't back it up with knowledge and integrity. And the thing is, I've had some people in the comments saying that this is a dystopian world. I shouldn't be trying to apply the real world logic in terms of the legal system to the broken legal system in the show, but if you don't look at it in contrast to what reality has to offer, I feel like the show loses all meaning, which in my opinion does a massive disservice to the hard work that the creators have been putting into the show and trying to create all this meaning. So yeah, maybe I'm taking it too seriously. Obviously I tend to do that, but I feel like this is a show that's begging to be taken seriously because it's offering a lot of real world commentary in a dystopian setting.
팔짱이라도 좀 껴봐.
팔짱.
I can't take this seriously.
김 판사님, 얼굴이 너무 굳었다. 드라마틱하게 생긴 얼굴 이쁘게 좀 써봐요. 아, 너 잘하는 것 같아.
It looks so uncomfortable and I hate... this is strangely enough one of my least favorite scenes so far because it's so contrived and it knows it's contrived. I hate that she's putting them in this situation.
그럼 이번에 혹시 제가 가운데 서봐도 돼요?
판사님, 몸가지가 뭔지 아셔. 최고.
Oh, this sucks so much. I liked her so much at the start, and now I'm really starting to dislike what she's becoming.
이야, 이 여자 이거 너무 재밌네.
I think Kan Yo-han is miscalculating here. I feel like her coming from a quote-unquote impoverished background is gonna score her points, and it's frustrating to me that Kan Yo-han is so privileged that he can't see that. He's still looking down on her, and I think it's gonna be one of the biggest hurdles in his attempts to take her down. I don't understand why he's making such a dumb mistake. That's such a beautiful shot. I have to say I appreciate the subtlety of their ads, if these are indeed ads, because the fact that I'm doubting whether they're ads or not is much appreciated. Like, I haven't had that dilemma in quite a while. Was really addressed, like, oh, you know, they were set free, okay, and what, logically there should be some investigation after this, but there wasn't. I hope they get back to that.
이 인간 빨리 잡아놓자. 내가 좀 도와줄까?
아니야. 일단 내 선에서 어떻게든 해볼게.
그래. 혹시라도 힘에 붙이면 꼭 나한테 얘기해.
I love her so much. I wish she was given more agency, but
그래도 아주머니가 정성껏 준.
나 한식 싫어한다니까 진짜. 부모니? 참 말하면 기억을 못해.
죄송해요 아주머니. 제가 괜한 말을 꺼내가지고.
아닙니다. 전 익숙합니다.
this woman is a freaking saint.
매니아 아가씨 많이 밝아지신 겁니다.
그런가요?
이렇게 적극적으로 누구에게 말을 걸고 뭘 해보겠다고 하고 그러신 적이 없었습니다.
Okay, you're good for the family. Please stay.
괜찮을까? 아, 몰라.
Will what be okay? the fact that
솜씨가 대단하세요.
they're having dinner.
뭐 서민 가정에서는 접하기 힘들겠죠. 몸에 좋으라고 귀한 석청꿀을 넣었습니다.
작전굴.
I wonder, because so far Ilya has actually enjoyed a lot of the food that Siona and GAON have given her. So I wonder if it's just, I feel so bad to say it, but it's just her cooking that's putting Ilya off of Korean food.
인삼 김치입니다.
Ginseng.
트러플 오일을 듬뿍 넣었으니까 풍미가 다르답니다.
트러플 오일을.
맛있죠?
Are you telling me? I didn't, like, I never would have guessed. Maybe I'm still wrong, but are you telling me that the only reason why Kan Johan is so, like, vehemently against her cooking is because she's a bad cook? And not because of, like, some deep-seated trust issues or him just being taciturn for the sake of it.
재단 쪽 정보라면은 뭐든지 수집하고 있을 거야. 어떻게든 그걸 빼내야 되는데.
I'm so scared something's
무슨 일이야?
gonna go wrong.
언제 와?
어?
언제 오냐고. 나 배고파.
너 지금 무슨 소리를?
아, 가온이 지금 밥 해놨단 말이야. 근데 다 올 때까지 아무도 밥 안 준대. 그니까 빨리 와.
Come on, take the olive branch,
가자.
please.
예? 오늘 약속은 하루씩 미뤄도 돼. 알겠습니다.
Guys, it's these small moments that kind of just get me. Was this Kan Johan's actor singing? Because it kind of sounds like his voice. I suppose it could also be GAON's actor. Or neither. Oh, that was a meaningful look. Okay, can we just end it here? Like, just end it on a happy note? We don't always have to stop on the worst cliffhanger ever.
최측근이라고 할 수 있지. 입을 열게 하는 게 쉽지가 않겠네. 그래도 일단 부딪혀봐야죠. 우선 어떻게든 그 비서를 확보해서 그건 제 일입니다. 이미 착수했고요.
That's if he doesn't accidentally die right now.
입은 제가 열어볼게요. 어떻게 할 생각이지? 부장님 돈 많으시죠? 응? 돈이라는 게 굉장히 강력한 동기라면서요.
Oh my word, he's enjoying this. He is enjoying this. Kan Johan is enjoying this. Oh no. I don't know how to feel about this. Okay, so as I mentioned in the community post, unfortunately, the second half, the most eventful half of this episode, had audio issues. So the original reaction is basically lost. I have the visuals for it, but no audio. So if I find any interesting bits of the original reaction that expresses my feelings without audio, I shall put it up here. It's gonna be a mess to edit, so yeah, sorry about that. But I am gonna have to re-record this, so I am trying to figure out a way to have backup audio so that something like this never happens again. But apologies that I haven't taken this measure sooner so that this wouldn't happen. But I'm gonna try never to have that happen again. Anyway, with that little bit of ranting out of the way, let's get into the rewatch. Guys, I'm kind of, now that I know how this is gonna play out, I'm kind of hyped for it. I'm sorry. I'm like, this is gonna be a totally different reaction to the original. Damn it.
그 사람 이름은 도영춘이고 다단계 사기범입니다. 내 부모님이 그자한테 당해서 돌아가셨고요. 그게 지금 나랑 무슨 상관이길래 이러는 겁니까?
Yeah, sure. So if it doesn't affect you, then what does it have to do with you?
돈 같은 걸 기대한 건 아닙니다.
Fortunately, that's a common approach. The fact that this man just randomly, like, probably not even randomly, but he had gold bars lying around to, like, exemplify the amount of money that this man is going to be offered.
스위스에서 제조한 순금 하나당 5억, 15억, 15억. 이 정도면 당신의
You
착용에
shouldn't be that, like, careless with gold, because gold is actually very breakable and soft.
할수 있겠습니까? 부족합니까?
Can you imagine accidentally chipping one of those?
20억. 개수작하지 마시죠. 내가 이런다고 장마집을 배신할 것 같습니까? 25억. 내가 돈 때문에 그분을 모시니.
Guys. Oh, hindsight just makes this very funny, and I know it shouldn't be.
아직 이러고 있는 거야?
The way this man just enters as if he wasn't probably, like, listening for a while, trying to see how GAON would handle this. Like, I legit now think, oh, he was, like, listening and, like, leaning there, listening to everything, and then he, like, tried to make this casual entrance, like, oh, didn't know a door opened like that.
악마판사?
What, you thought he did this all on his own?
자, 여기 25억이 있다. 얘기할래? 날 물어보십니까? 알았어. 자, 20억. 얘기할 건가?
This reverse psychology is so interesting. It's an approach that I've never seen used in TV. Maybe in real life, but in TV, this is very interesting.
잠시만. 생각을 좀 해봐. 10억.
How to break a man in 2 seconds or less.
말씀드리겠습니다. 전부 다 말씀드리겠습니다.
I'm so sorry, this should not be funny, but, like, the way "Are you serious" is written all over GAON's face is just, I can't. I feel so bad, because, like, you can see he's broken by the decision he just made. Because obviously he's given seconds to think about it, and his instincts overcame his morality.
그렇게 간단할 줄은 몰랐네요. 인간이란 가진 걸 빼앗길 때 더 큰 고통을 느끼기 마련이지.
I remember saying something about, like, they did a study where they found that people who, like, went out and touched things when they were shopping made it so that they felt like they owned it, and I think a similar principle obviously applied here.
도영신이 이런 곳에 숨어 있다니. 너무 기대하지 마. 오히려 그냥 살펴보러 온 거니까. 어떻게 잘해야 할지 준비를 한 후에 그때 다시 오자고.
So interesting, because I don't think he's, like, saying what he's saying frivolously. I do think he's seriously cautioning him and everything like that, but now taking everything in again, I can't help but feel like this is also him, like, trying to lighten the mood in his own weird way, like trying to make small talk and failing at it. It's so sad because I felt so much sympathy for this man looking at it the first time. Like he looked so innocent, and I felt so bad for Gohan because it was such a stark contrast to what he probably expected to find. Like he had this man pictured as a villain, and obviously he kind of still turns out to be very selfish. But yeah, without that knowledge, he seemed like, oh, you know, this was a man who made mistakes, and he'd kind of moved on from it, and he was no longer that person.
야, 내가 지은 죄가 많잖냐, 너네 엄마한테.
나한테는.
아, 너한테도 많지. 이거 다 먹어.
So interesting, because taking into account everything that I've said, how he seemed so innocent here, I wonder if like this was all a front, or if he felt like he could admit all these faults because he still had the things that he'd gained from all his time scamming people. Like, I feel like if he genuinely lost everything, he would be much more bitter, and he wouldn't be able to move on the way that it seemed like he had moved on. It's so interesting because I remember feeling so sorry for Gohan here, and feeling like, you know, this poor man, because he still sees the scammer that had ruined his family, and this man had clearly moved on, and now I can't help but just be in the same rage that he is feeling, because like I feel cheated as an audience member. Like I was almost fooled by this freaking man. I was fooled by this freaking man. It's a very different second viewing experience from the first. And there's not a lot of shows where that happens. Here, oh, yeesh, this man is infuriating me right now.
차경은 저 자리까지 올라가기 위해 수많은 무고한 사람들에게 누명을 씌워 파멸시켰어. 그리고 네 손에 피를 묻힌 후에 네 그 소꿉친구는 어떻게 볼 생각인 거지?
It's so interesting because he's talking a lot of sense right now, but we know that Kang Yo-han is not the biggest fan of his friend. So it's interesting to me that he's willing to use whatever means necessary to talk sense into people. Like he knows that his friend is a weak spot for GAON. It's so sad because it really feels like this is his last attempt, and I think I might have said something similar the first time I reacted to it, but I'm not sure. But it feels like this is his attempt to ground himself back into what she said to him when she stopped him from killing that man the first time around. He's desperately trying to remember what she said and keep himself away from doing exactly what she warned him not to do.
만약에 진짜 아주 만약에 내가 나쁜 짓 하면 어떨 것 같아?
I would be so worried if my friend said something like that to me, especially considering that she's aware that he's been hanging out with Kang Yo-han. She's seen, even if she maybe hasn't really acknowledged it yet, I think she's seen and is on a subconscious level aware of how differently he had acted during the confrontation with the mob versus how he probably would have acted before, Yisha almost said, getting into bed with Kang Yo-han, though obviously that conjures a completely different image from what I meant. But yeah, differently from before he started hanging out with Kang Johan. So all things considered, if I were her, I would be very worried about him asking a question like that.
왜 갑자기 그런 소리를? 또
Yeah.
무슨 일 있지?
아니야. 그냥 이상한 소리가 하고 싶었어.
And there is that. The fact that he lied to her. I think I at some point in one of the previous episodes mentioned that the moment he starts lying to her is the moment that things start to go bad. Even though luckily by the end of this that's not quite what happens, I still feel that sentiment rings true and I'm worried about it. The lighting there on GAON was really concerning, and also before we get into this altercation, because I'm still gonna be stressed even though I know it turns out okay. Probably the first time around I should have caught on to the fact that not all is as it seems, because if he had genuinely suffered like the consequences of his actions, you know, in some way, shape or form, he and his family wouldn't be on a farm, like, doing decently well from the looks of it.
누구세요?
I don't have a pillow. Why don't I have a pillow?
당신 때문에 죽은 사람이 몇 명인데. 피해자 가십니까?
The fact that GAON is spot on and he doesn't even know it yet.
미안합니다. 웃기지 마. 내가 속을 줄 알아. 당신이 어떤 인간인데. 그 큰 돈은 어디다 숨겨놓고 있던 쇼를 하고 있는 거야.
It's so bad because again, I feel like I don't necessarily think he believes all this. I feel like at this point at least, before they had any proof, it was a story that he told himself because he couldn't imagine someone atoning for their sins. And even though in this case obviously this man didn't, what GAON accused him of was 100% true. That's not to say that that's always the case. I think he genuinely was so hurt that even if this man had been reformed, he still would have like told himself all this because he was just so angry and hurt.
그래, 당신은 지옥에 가야 돼.
Like, I really don't like seeing GAON like this. It broke me to see him like this, and I think it's interesting because in a sense we have now become Soyona, where it hurts to see him not smiling, not being his normal self, and you can kind of understand why she does all she does to try and keep him safe. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Like, I was terrified the first time around, now I'm just hurting. I mean, I think, like, if GAON had succeeded, he probably would have hated himself for doing to other people what had been done to him, taking away a loved one from a family who needed them. So in a way, I'm really glad that it's not gonna succeed. But also, it's interesting to me because this man was willing to die, but then you look at how he reacts when things go the way they're gonna go, and the attitude shift is like 180 degrees, you know. And I can't help but wonder if it's because if he dies, it's everyone else who has to live with the consequences. if his money is taken away from him but he survives, he has to live with the consequences of his actions. It's an interesting thought.
왜 복수조차 못하게 만들어? 왜? 진 인간 될 적이 없잖아. 여전히 악마였어야지.
Yeah, because then it would have been easy for him. And regardless that everything turns out to kind of like be for naught in a sense, that's a very sad but true sentiment. Is sometimes people move on from what they've done and they do get better, but it doesn't make what they did any less despicable. Okay, I really felt this was an amazing scene, so I am gonna try and remember what I was thinking, what I was feeling as I was watching it, because this was a very good scene, and I'm so bitter about the fact that I lost the audio for it. So we're gonna try and recreate the feeling, okay?
어설픈 영국은 그만두지.
Before we go back into the nitty-gritty of it, props to Kang Yo-han for kind of like spotting something off and making a calculated decision to call the bluff. Strangely enough, I distinctly remember being convinced that, oh, okay, so he's gonna make him choose. Where is my pillow? To be fair, I think when I originally thought, oh, he would make them choose, I thought, okay, he's gonna like put it in the middle and it'll allow enough time for this man to choose where he's gonna go. I didn't think he would like outright set the building on fire, set the money on fire, and like, you know, you choose type of scenario. I thought it was more gonna be like there is time to think about this, but this man is immediately gonna go for his family, because what monster wouldn't? But of course we know how this goes. Oh, this part frustrated me so much the first time, because I was like, how can you not? Like, obviously he'd made his choice. How can you not have Kim GAON go help the family? Because the choice has already been made. But then my brain was in denial, because I'm like, no, but they haven't checked in with the daughter and mother in a while, so maybe like they got out or something like that. And luckily it turns out to be true, but yeesh, like... It did bother me that GAON was so absorbed with watching this man throw his family away for money that even once Kang Yo-han stopped restraining him, he made no move to try and get to them after that. Yeah, and you theoretically just threw your family away for fake money. And you're laughing about it. That's great. There we go. Okay. I forgot he did actually try and help. Yeah, like, obviously you know what's gonna be happening next, but how should he relax? Because he doesn't know what's gonna be happening next. Like, oh, you know, there's a nice bonfire, relax and just watch.
가족들한테도 실린 거야. 남은 돈이 하나도 없다고.
I feel so bad for the family. Yeah, that's like the least of what you deserve. How dare you be indignant about anything ever?
자, 복수를 하고 싶다면 해. 망설이지 말고.
It's so frustrating because here's the very stark contrast between Suyona and Kan Yo-han is he will still at the end of the day enable Kim Go-eun to do something very dangerous. And I don't know how I feel about that, because on the one hand he's saying, you know, it's your choice, I'm not gonna stop you from doing bad things. But on the other hand, he's also trying to minimize the damage, and I just feel like this was a test, and it's a test that I don't like. The fire imagery that keeps on reoccurring is very interesting, like a living hell, but okay. Him laughing just aggravates me so much. There's so many emotions that I'm feeling and that I can see the characters feeling, like the relief, no matter what, I'm still not that person that seems to be written on GAON's face. But also Kan Yo-han seems like on the one hand he's impressed, on the other hand it's like, ooh, what is this interesting thing that I have here in front of me? And on the other hand it's like satisfied but also surprised. Just a lot going on. Well done to the actors for being able to communicate all that, or I'm probably maybe just reading too much into it, but who knows.
방해하지 맙시다. 눈속임이었던 겁니까?
I wouldn't say it quite like that.
인간은 가졌던 걸 잃었다고 생각하면 정신이 나간다고.
You guys just burned down a building. You're not allowed to look cool. This bit made me way too happy. And he looked weirdly cool doing this. I'm so glad that they gave GAON the opportunity to give back in a way that he knows would have meant a lot to him if he'd been on the receiving end of it. This show just has the best music. Okay, let's discuss, because there's a lot of thoughts. I was very torn about this the first time I watched it, because I couldn't help but feel like Kan Yo-han was like tainting GAON in a sense, like reshaping him into someone that he found useful, versus GAON being allowed to just be the kind of person that he was at the start. But reflecting on it now, I kind of can't help but wonder if the show is more commentating on the fact that the world is going to be corrupt, and the world is going to have things that potentially reshapes your worldview, but you can decide whether that turns you into a monster or not, or like you have to stick your head in the sand, either or, you know. You can find a middle path that works for you. And I feel like now, because at the start of this reaction, when I was just watching it for the first time, I mentioned something along the lines of rather the enemy that you know versus the enemy that you don't, you know, when comparing Kan Yo-han and Suna. But I think what's saving Kan Yo-han for me versus why I'm having such an issue with Suna is because Kan Yo-han's damage that he is willing to inflict is much more measured than hers. I feel like he tries very hard not to have there be collateral damage. And it's something that saves his character for me, whereas I think Suna doesn't care about collateral damage. And that makes a difference. That says a lot about the value that each of them places on individual lives and the people that happen to be affected by their actions. So that's a very interesting thought for me, and it makes me a lot more sure that there is more to the story with his brother than we know at the moment, because so far, with regards to him, everything hasn't been the way it seemed. We've seen that again with him not being willing to eat the maid's food. It wasn't like him having massive trust issues or being too good for her food. It was something very simple and human, you know. So I feel like that's definitely a theme that they're communicating, and it makes me interested to see what else we've been misinformed by because of the way it's been portrayed to us so far. With all of that said, it was a very interesting viewing experience watching it the second time around. In a way, I feel like it's very much GAON's experience, because you go into it so naively and you come out a lot more cynical. So yeah, I don't know, I hope you guys still enjoyed this. I'm so sorry that I lost the original reactions audio, but yeah, let me know what you thought, and otherwise I'll see you guys again next time. ZHANG. So let me just give you guys my thoughts about this to try and summarize how much I appreciate the end of this, because the ending, the last 25 minutes made this episode for me. I wasn't going into this episode expecting that I would really enjoy this episode. There was a lot of like bits about this episode that rubbed me the wrong way, shall we say, but I so appreciate that even though I'm sure we're gonna be seeing like the slippery slope that is this moral path that GAON has taken, I appreciate that we didn't just immediately jump into it. Here we can still clearly see that despite his conflicted feelings, despite his anger, his heart is still in the right place. And no doubt at some point that's not gonna be enough, but I appreciate that for now it still is. There was something very sentimental to me about these last 25 minutes. I feel like it grew their characters so much because, yeah, in a way, it did show the darker side of GAON that I'm really not keen on exploring, but to juxtapose that, it showed the lighter side of Kang Yo-han, which I wasn't expecting. It showed that despite the fact that he can oftentimes take things too far, he also has very clear boundaries. And I feel like that tells you a lot about the allegations that's been leveled at him and which of those allegations are true versus which of them are probably like exaggerated or misunderstood. So I'm really intrigued to learn more about that. I hope you guys still enjoyed it, and otherwise I'll see you guys again next time. ZHANG.